Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this little unboxing video of Stuck in the Mud. It's been a long time coming. For some of you who've been following my travels and my videos and my blog and everything for a while, you'll know that I've been talking about this book probably for nearly 3 years on and off, thinking, will it get published? Will it get dropped? There's been all sorts of different things that have been happening, and then just the other day, just before I thought the book was actually going to be delivered, a parcel came to the door, and I was hoping to set this whole thing up so that I could do an unboxing video in front of the camera and the light and do it really nicely. And it was funny, I came back from the office where I've been recording some podcasts, and there was the box. And so Louise took the camera and we just cleared a space in the kitchen and I unboxed it there. So before I carry on with this video, let me pass you over to a couple of nights ago when I actually unboxed Stuck in the Mud. And that's probably better than doing it here because you get the real reaction that I had when I opened the actual box from the publisher. So this is what happened when I opened the box. So I've just been at the office today recording a podcast. I had no idea that this box had arrived, and I was going to set up a big lights thing, but the box is here. So I'm going to unbox this. Now this could be absolutely brilliant. I really hope that it's the books, otherwise this is a little bit silly. I feel a little bit bad, particularly because I've been telling you that your orders are going to be delayed, and I've ended up ordering a good stock of them myself. Yes, okay, here we go. So let's get rid of some of this, and that's a invoice there. Okay, so here we go. This is it. Stuck in the Mud, stories of hope for when you're stuck. How cool is that? Oh, that is lovely. It's a smaller type than I imagined, actually. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. So in here, I've got a bunch of copies. I'm actually not doing an ordering thing from the house, but maybe at some point I will do a giveaway soon. I just need to get my head into this. This is absolutely brilliant. I've got so many, well actually not loads, but I've got a bunch of copies here. Oh, that is just absolutely lovely. I don't know if you can see that nice and closely. I'm absolutely thrilled. That is beautiful, and I'm really pleased with it. I really hope you're pleased with it when you get yours. See you soon. So there you go. It was just a normal night with a normal parcel that had been sat with my neighbour for a couple of hours, and it was a really special moment to finally open that box. I don't know if you have kind of created something which has taken so long, which then arrives. I mean, it's a funny feeling because as a first time writer, there's actually some elements to the book which I don't have a lot to do with, and haven't had a lot to do with, like the cover design and things, and I'm thrilled with the cover design, but things like that are very much out of my hands. And so having the book arrive and just seeing it for that first time was just really thrilling, and I've been just so enjoying it ever since, and I had a chance to read a couple of bits to my kids, which has been absolutely lovely as well. And here it is. This is the book in my hands. This is what it looks like. It's actually, this is one of the things that really struck me when I first got it out the box. This is a lovely feeling book. And I don't want to go into any ridiculous detail here, but truthfully, when I was when I had a kind of hope and a vision for what the book would be like, I was hoping for a matte finish, something that wasn't too shiny, and to actually, here we go, let me hold this up, to actually have it, and it's got a bit of a silk feel. It's beautifully put together, really nicely designed, and and the guys at Lion Hudson have done a lovely job with it. The colour scheme, the whole thing with the boots, I'm absolutely thrilled with it, and really everything from the sort of front cover through. Although I say that I had kind of little to do with some parts of it, obviously when you open the book, that's where you start to see me a lot more. So let me open this up and I can show this to you. So anyway, on the back it says, at times of difficulty or transition, we can feel unable to move forward. Framed around 12 real-life sticking points in John Procter's life, this book offers us hope in a faithful God and a pathway through difficult times. John encourages us to engage with Scripture in a new and inspiring way, allowing Jesus to bring the freedom we all need to live our lives authentically. Frank yet approachable, Stuck in the Mud is an ideal guide for those wanting to engage in the ups and downs of discipleship. And that really is very much the starting point. If I can tell you that the stories in this book really come from 17 years of marriage, but 14 years of being a parent, and of course one of the things that I said to my wife when I gave her a copy the other night was that I've written it, but it's really a life that we've lived together, and so it's very much her book as well. It's very much ours. When you open the book, you get the kind of obligatory read this book stuff. The very first one's from my friend Paul and there's all sorts of endorsements in here. What's actually nice about the endorsements here is that they were collected by me. Now, I don't know how much you know about this kind of thing, but I really had to work at getting kind of endorsements for the book. It wasn't difficult because I know some people who write, but the publishers really needed me to get a group of people who believed in the book, so that when they put it out, there was a group of people who were saying that they liked it. And what's really nice is that the second endorsement here is Martin Saunders, and Martin actually was one of the first, after my wife, was one of the first people who really helped me navigate putting the book together. It's a funny process for someone who hasn't written, and if you've not written this or if you have written but not very long, this might resonate with you. I wasn't sure at all whether what I was writing made any sense to anybody else, whether it was worth it, because of course we all live our lives, like we're all going through lots of different stuff all the time, but whether it's reader worthy is a big question, and I wasn't sure. And so I sent some of the early bits that I was writing to Martin Saunders, and his response to me was, it's really well written, but I've got no idea what it's about. And so we had a few conversations, and then I sent it to Matt Summerfield, who wrote a recommendation. Actually, he's on the back as well. I sent it to Matt, and he said, this was after working on it a little bit, but he said, oh yeah, this is good, I'm cheering you on, mate, like, go for it. And so I wrote a little bit more, and then I sent it to Colin Piper, who's an old friend and old boss and a mentor of mine, and by that point the book was, I think, 3/4 of the way finished. And I said to Colin, tell me what you think. And he came back and he said something like, he said, I read it on a plane, and I don't know whether it was the alcohol or that I was overtired, or whether it's just that I really like you, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I then sent it to a few other people. Every time I spoke to somebody, I took what they had said and tried to apply it to the book. So one of the things that Colin said to me was that it was a bit too nice, and so I kind of dealt with that a little bit and gave it a little bit more of a bite. And I sent it to another mentor of mine called Brad Ringer, and he said something similar. He said, I think that it was a bit, I don't know if he said it was a bit too easy or something like that, but again, I kind of kept persevering with, what are people saying? What are, can I make this a good book? And then as I got further and further into it, it began to really take shape into a book that made sense and had a structure and a flow to it. And then one of the last people I sent it to, there were a few people I sent it to in between times, but one of the really significant people then I sent it to is a guy called Mark Triggs, and he's in the acknowledgements here as someone who really helped to hone the text. And if you ever write, I really want to encourage you, get what you're writing to people who know what they're doing. This wouldn't happen, or wouldn't have happened, unless I was speaking to people who knew what they were doing. That's really the point here. So anyway, so there's acknowledgements, and there's things that people have said about the book. Let's go to the next couple of pages here. Here we go. This is before the page numbering. And this is about my dad. So I actually dedicated this to my dad. So it says, dedicated to the loving memory of my dad, Edwin Prockter. He died sort of 18 months ago. And one thing that I'm really grateful for is that he got to read about 90% of it before he died. It wasn't a rush. We didn't know that it was going to happen, but I'd sent it to him, and he said to me, I'm impressed with your grasp of theology. So I thought that was quite a compliment from my dad, that he was impressed with my grasp of theology. I thought that was great. So yeah, we go on from the dedication to my dad to a poem, which is at the front of the book, followed by the contents. And let's go through the contents a little bit. So the book itself is split into two halves. It's a book of restoration. The whole point of the book is to become unstuck. That's why it's called Stuck in the Mud. And one of the stories in it, one of the sort of short anecdotes, if you like, is, life sometimes feels like a big game of stuck in the mud. And my youngest daughter very helpfully told me that it's now called Stick in the Mud. So that was helpful. But anyway, it's called, for me, it's called Stuck in the Mud. And the whole book is a bit of a process of figuring out ways to get unstuck, of ways to find restoration, and really crucially to find Jesus, to find peace, to find hope, to find joy, to discover delight, and to find treasure in God. And this is really the whole thing. And so the first half of the book, part one, if you like, is titled Stuck, and part two is titled Restored. And one of the things that the book starts with is a story about finding treasure. And one thing that's really lovely is that this bookcase that I'm sat in front of, it's just a run-of-the-mill, reasonably cheap IKEA bookcase. But the very first story in the book is actually written from the point of view that the camera is sat right now. So here we go. Let me read you just the very first little bit of chapter 1. You are sat in the perfect position for this, because my very first inspiration for writing the book came when I was sat where you're sat at the moment, on the other side of our dining room table, looking at our bookcase. And this is what I wrote. So chapter 1. Opposite my seat at the table, there's a large white IKEA bookcase. Sometimes I catch myself staring blankly at it. My favourite thing about it is that there's a section with a large glass door. And in it, I can see the reflection of a beautiful Cornish beach behind my head on the opposite side of the table. You can find all sorts of things in our bookcase. I'm sure that yours must be similar. For instance, there's a bowl full of rechargeable batteries with their must-have tool, the Epic battery tester. There's also an external hard drive, a glass coaster, a box full of iPhone fixing accessories, for when I'm feeling really accomplished. And there's a sewing tin, an unmade child's Meccano kit, and a clay piggy bank in the shape of a VW Beetle, which we made on holiday in South Devon a long time ago. There's also a host of Blu-rays and DVDs that our kids are always asking about. You know the sort of thing. What is The Matrix? Are we allowed to watch Die Hard? To which I answer, by the time you'll be allowed to watch that, you won't want to. Last but by no means least, there's an array of books. Well, I might say last, but there's also a collection of other random toys, stones, and parts of things that our kids have absent-mindedly left there. The picture I'm trying to paint here might sound a little chaotic. A bookcase is, after all, supposed to be the sacred home of knowledge. In all honesty, my wife and I are pretty tidy people, and we really value everything being in its place. But no matter how hard we try, there's always a little adventure going on amongst those shelves. Even just recently, our eldest daughter was asking me for something that had got lost. The location of the treasure? The bookcase. And that's the very first page, actually, in the book. This whole idea of finding treasure in the first chapter is linked to this idea that the whole first chapter opens up that you are God's great treasure and that he delights in you. That the kind of end point, if you like, of that particular chapter is that God delights in you no matter what, but you'll really get somewhere if you can figure out how to delight in God and to make him your precious treasure as well. This is one of the first themes in the book, and it goes on and on and on, talking about all sorts of things. And of course, everything that's written in the book is very much driven by the stories from being a parent, from being a youth worker, from being a worship leader, losing people, bereavement, and also being made redundant and losing positions that have been important. And I think, for you, if any of those things resonate with you, being a parent or being married or working in, youth work, or being a worship leader or musician, or struggling with loss, or struggling with redundancy, I really want to encourage you that there's something in here for you. Now, I could literally sit and talk for absolutely ages about this book, but I've probably spoken for long enough, and so I just want to thank you. If you want to get this thing, it's available everywhere. You can obviously get it from Amazon, but if you want to buy it from your local bookshop's online store, I'm sure it'll be in there as well. The other thing just to tell you is that for the next 6 weeks, depending on when you're listening to this, the next 6 weeks, there's going to be a short podcast series called Stuck in the Mud Podcast. At this point, you can, if you've got a smart speaker, you can say, the wake word and then play Stuck in the Mud Podcast. It will come up. If you've got podcast provider on your phone or your computer, it'll be in there as well, and I open up a little bit more from 6 of the chapters in that. If you've got any questions for me, if you want to engage with me about any of it, then I just would be thrilled to talk to you. The whole point of this thing is to share with you, to share with my family, to share with young people that I've known, to share with people that we love, and that includes you. And so I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you choose to get it. And when you do let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching today. You can follow me on social media, Facebook and Instagram, at John Prockter Author. And I really hope that you do. And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.